Everyone, this is our Human Resource Personnel Change Meeting for October 17th, 2022. The time is 9 a.m. and I'm calling this meeting to order. In attendance are Commissioners Brooks and Duncan. We expect Commissioner Filios on the phone anytime. And changes to the agenda, I would like to handle item 3 first since we have some people calling in for that. So with that, we can start with final review of Edison Healthcare Contract, Human Resources. Sylvia?
Yes, what we would like to do just one last time is give you an update in reference to the Edison contract. It has been gone through by our legal counsel and ICRAMP and Edison's legal counsel. And we're finally at agreement that it's a contract that the board could potentially consider for approval. The funds for Edison are in the budget.
Okay.
For fiscal year 23.
Great.
And Scott, do you want to maybe give a quick overview of
Sure.
what they'd be doing for us?
Sure. This is Scott from Alliant. And so there's 3 documents from Edison for implementation. The first document is just an implementation packet, which is basic biographical information for the county, such as address, contacts, insurance carrier information. And then it also has some HIPAA privacy, general information. That does require a couple signatures. Then the employer agreement is where Dave spent the most time going back and forth with Edison. And Edison has been very accommodating on meeting Dave's desires there. So, but the employment agreement is the nuts and bolts of the program. There's a program description, and if you'd like me to remind you of what the Edison is, I can certainly go through that. But it's basically the Second Surgical Opinion Centers of Excellence tourism program, totally voluntary for employees. And there should be some significant savings over time that we see from that program. But in the agreement, there's a program description. There is county obligations, and I think Dave had made some comments on those. But we've gone over what those county obligations are. It's basically just communication to plan members, which is the key to success of this program, letting people know what's out there. And then financial incentives, that's also a kind of a scary one, but we're doing that. We're recommending that, having no deductibles, no co-pays from employees. So it's not like giving employees cash, it's incentivizing them through the plan design. And then there's the service fees, which we talked about, the $63,000. I believe there's some miscellaneous fees for printing marketing materials and such. Edison will not go direct to your employees or dependents. It will always go through us and HR to approve content that's going out, whether it's email or text, but they will provide best practices of what employers are doing for the success of the program. And then, also in the employer agreement is Edison's obligations, there's billing and payment information, and then there's legal contractual info that Dave and Edison went back and forth on. Finally, there's a business associate agreement, which is a pretty standard document these days in contracts. It just outlines the obligations of each party to protect data, permitted uses and disclosures of data, and then some stock legal content. And again, so that's the background.
All right. Chris, are you on the line?
I am. Thank you.
Do you have any questions for Scott or for the Edison representatives on the line?
No questions, but I do have something to add, I guess, in support of Edison. Because of my situation, which most of you are aware of, I was able to take advantage, thanks to Sean recommending what they refer to as the friends and family, which is obviously something less than a physical visit. Excuse me. So I was able to get a virtual second opinion from the Mayo in Mayo Clinic in Rochester. And just to make a long story short, it was with a PA and a urologist. And ultimately, that second opinion basically convinced me that I had no choice but to proceed with the surgery. So it actually proved invaluable to me. So I'm making a plug for Edison.
Good, good. Thank you. Bill, any questions?
No.
I just have a question in the implementation packet, and it talks about the in-network, out-of-network, and then the employee responsibilities. So I was just curious as to, they're a little bit higher than the county. So how does that kind of play into it? So,
Now, I'm sorry, what is a little bit higher than the
so
county?
on this sheet here,
Yeah, that's the only one I don't have in front of me.
oh,
Do you want
Do you
it?
have that? Yeah.
yeah. So it's the implementation packet. So I just was curious as to the deductibles.
Oh, I see. What that section there is, it says employee responsibilities for typical HSA.
Oh, okay.
Just an outline because things are different relative to high deductible health plans, which is not applicable to, we should just X out this section.
Okay, good.
So, yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I didn't even think to X that out, but it's NA, not applicable.
Perfect.
The amounts.
Okay, and so this will be brought back for approval at a future business meeting?
Yes, once the board have this meeting, I will schedule it to come to the business meeting for approval
Okay. All right, anything further?
with an effective date of January 1st.
Yes, perfect. All right, anything from our Edison partners on the phone?
No, we don't have any specific questions. We're just here in case you guys had anything that we could help answer. Appreciate your time and the ability to help you and your members.
Yep, you bet. All right, well, thank you so much, and you're free to leave the call. We'll go ahead on to our other action items for today. So thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
You bet. All right, so we'll head back.
Thank you.
Thanks. So we'll head back up to item 1, request for adoption of new grades, civil deputy specialists. And I think HR is going to start us off on this.
Yes, we did a review, this is Dorothy Cross for the record. We did a review of currently they have a civil deputy technician 1 and 2. We did a revamp, they did a revamp of their job description, combining the 2 into 1. It's been reviewed. It does change it from grades 4 and 5 to a 1 position that's a grade 6, if adopted by the board.
Okay. And then back in 2019, 2020, we started county-wide reclassification or job description looks at. So is this part of that program?
It wasn't part of the program, but it will be, yes. We would not review this again.
Right, but what I mean is this is the first time.
It was due for revisiting the job description based on, we try and update them every few years. And most of the job descriptions that we've had to update during the job description project were just little changes to it. But with this situation, they felt it was more relevant to have 1 position as a specialist and not have a level 1 and level 2. So it really is part of the job description project. But this would, the factor that's different from it is that it's a reclassification based on the duties being combined.
Okay, great. Any questions for HR?
I don't have any.
All right, so I would take a motion then.
I'm already losing my voice, so. Chris, you want to make the motion?
No, go ahead, Bill, because, I've got the description in front of me, but I don't have the agenda.
Right,
So
okay.
I don't want to misstate it.
I'll
Okay.
give it a shot. I move that we approve the request for adoption of the new pay grade civil deputy specialist in human resources.
Okay.
I'll second.
Frogs.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye. All right, item passes. And number 2, which is related to number 1, requests for increases due to reclassification for the Civil Deputy Specialist Sheriff's Office. So Captain Deke, will you be speaking to this?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Commissioners and Commissioner Brooks. I have you beat on the loss of voice, so excuse me for that. I want to thank first HR for their job with the reclassification. Thank you for that and the time and effort that's gone into that. This has been coming for a while. I know Captain Smart presented or prepared some of this information in the springtime and it was submitted, and because of the pay study at the time, that was priority for this. So this office has been waiting for this for a long time, but our civil deputy specialists, now as they're called that, are responsible for collecting and processing civil claims at the sheriff's office. They do writs, garnishment, property sales. They bring in between $300,000 to $400,000 a year in revenue to the county. With that, I know that the information that's been prepared from Brandy Falcon, that this is not a budget neutral item. It is a budget increase, approximately $23,000 for FY23 and another $1,000 for FY24. I'm requesting the board approve these, the salaries that go along with the wages that go along with this increase for reclassification. We're waiting to find out what our last HR payroll adjustment was for FY22. We don't know where that's at yet, but it's my understanding there might possibly be some funding available to offset this request for FY23. I'm seeking the board's approval for that.
So with this small amount, it would have been approved during budget season anyway, but understanding that the wage study took priority, so we weren't able to get this in front of the board before all the budgets were approved. So I don't have a problem going forward with this because 23,000 is such a small amount. And while I strongly encourage the sheriff's department to be fully funded or fully staffed, that's not necessarily realistic. So I'm comfortable with going forward. And then next year, a $25,000 increase is not unreasonable considering they bring in, upwards of $400,000 a year revenue to the county. So, Chris, thoughts?
Yeah, I just have a question. If two positions are being merged into one, how is it we wind up with an increase?
Go ahead, Dorothy.
It was a general review of all of it, Chris, and looking at what their job duties are, they are comparable to the job duties that are conducted by other grade 6s in the county. So if we hadn't combined them, we likely would have looked at moving the 5 to a 6 anyway. And what they're basically doing is eliminating the grade 4.
So no positions are being eliminated. It's just the actual job duties that these folks have been doing for the past several years has been upgraded.
It's also unique in that at the time we started this, we had no grade 4 civil deputy technicians. We only had grade 5. We've hired one person in the meantime, but he's very, very highly qualified, and he will go into this new grade at a lower step than where he currently is.
Okay.
Okay. So, and again, bear with me. So basically, the two positions, I'm asking the question, the two are being merged into one. Is that correct?
So not people.
Because that's the way it reads.
Right. So it's two separate job descriptions are now just being placed as one.
And it affects 6 staff members.
Okay.
Yeah. It affects 6 people. So, instead of 3 or 4 doing this job and the other 2 doing that job, which was relevant when the positions were created, now over time the positions have grown and all 6 are doing the same thing.
Fair enough. Thank you. Okay, that answers it. I'm good.
Okay. Bill?
No.
All right. No questions or no support?
No questions.
Okay, thank you.
At
All
this
right.
point.
Okay, perfect. So I would entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the
Okay,
request for increases due to the reclassification for the civil deputy specialists.
Okay.
second,
Commissioner Filios,
aye.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Public comment. Anybody on the line? Public comment? Hearing none. It is 9:15. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.